Vice Foreign and Expatriates Minister Dr. Faisal al-Miqdad today held talks with Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi on boosting the bilateral relations between the two countries and the latest developments in Syria and the region. Both sides voiced their relief over the development of the bilateral relations in all fields in a way that serves the friendly states and their peoples. Al-Miqdad reviewed during the meeting the situation in the Syrian arena in light of the qualitative operations carried out by the armed forces in confrontation of the armed terrorist groups with the aim to restore security and stability to the country. He expressed the Syrian Arab Republic's gratitude for the stances of the Islamic Republic of Iran that are supportive towards Syria, people and government, in face of the US Western targeting and its tools in the region. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ramin Mahmanbrest renewed his country's rejection of any foreign intervention in Syria, stressing that the only way to solve the crisis in Syria is represented by the peaceful solution through a national dialogue among the Syrians themselves. In an interview with the Lebanese Al-Manar TV today, Mahmanbrest said the Syrian people could determine their destination through elections and foreign countries should not interfere in Syria's domestic affairs. We are particularly rejecting any Western military intervention in Syria, adding that all those who call for democracy and say that the Syrian people, just like all people, want their rightful demands, should help them bring peace and security to the country. They should stop the process of sending weapons to terrorists and work on halting violence, in addition to helping start a dialogue. The Iranian official stressed his country's stance that the best way for solving the crisis in Syria is through the peaceful solution, pointing out that Tehran has presented proposals to many countries in this regard as they are discussing them. The Turkish Republican People's Party called for questioning PM Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his foreign minister Ahmet Davutoglu at the Turkish parliament over the presence of Turkish officers in Syria who cooperate with terrorists. In a memo submitted to the parliament by MP of the Republican People's Party, Lutfi Baydar, the party said that Erdogan and Davutoglu should clarify the details of these officers' cooperation with the so-called Free Army in Syria and respond to the reports of their arrest and news of Turkish officers dying there. In turn, the Turkish Communist Party issued a statement calling on Erdogan to present a convincing explanation on the role of these Turkish officers in Syria and whether they are cooperating with Al-Qaeda. The party demanded information about the reported arrests of the officers, noting that 2 high-ranking Turkish officers and intelligence personnel were also arrested in Syria earlier. In Aleppo and its countryside, Syrian Arab armed forces targeted dens and gatherings of terrorists and all their weapons and ammunition, killing or wounding all of them, were vandalizing and looting along the road of Muslimiyeh, Sheikh Faris, Hlaytan, Sheikh Said in Aleppo countryside. In Aleppo city, units of the armed forces continued to pursue terrorists, inflicting heavy losses upon them in Karm al-Katraji, Dahrat al-Abu Rabu, in Al-Layramoun, Al-Inzarat neighborhood, Al-Kallasi area, Bustan al-Qasr and Bani Zaid. It is to be noted that armed terrorist groups stormed Ibn Khaldun Hospital in Adwerna in Aleppo countryside and attacked the patients and the medical staff and vandalized the hospital's equipment and furniture. In Damascus countryside, a Syrian Arab army unit today continued pursuing and targeting terrorist groups. A number of terrorists were killed at Al-Mleha town, among them terrorists Muhammad al-Harbawi, Ahmad al-Durra, Yasin Abdul Hadi, Muhammad Saqur, Mahir Ubaid, Atif al-Zaybaq, Hassan Awad and Abu Anas al-Khomsi were all identified among the dead. A Syrian Arab army unit clashed with a terrorist group in Arbian town and killed a number of its members and injured others, in addition to destroying their weapons and ammunition. Meanwhile, dens of terrorist groups were destroyed and a number of terrorists were killed in Al-Mu'addamiyya town. Terrorists Fahd al-Asi, Majid Hamoudi, Abdul Razzaq Barbar, Omar Hamoud and Naeem al-Safadi were identified among the killed.
Australia has admitted that more than 100 Australians are fighting alongside the armed terrorist groups in Syria. The Australian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Bob Carr said that the government was aware of the reports that more than 100 Australians had joined the fighting in Syria since the year 2011, but had no evidence of any citizens currently involved. Carr warned that the Australians who take part in the fighting in Syria face up to 20 years in jail, reminding of the Crime Act of 1978, which states that a person shall not enter into a foreign state with the intent to engage in a hostile activity. He added that any Australian who recruits someone to fight overseas faces 7 years imprisonment. The Australian Foreign Ministry announced in a statement on January the 2nd that it was looking into an incident in which an Australian citizen who was killed while fighting in Syria alongside the terrorist groups there. The Western officials and the media have admitted that thousands of foreign Salafites and Takfiris who streamed into Syria to join the armed groups terrorists in fighting, the majority of which are infiltrating through the Turkish borders. Meanwhile, the Lebanese Al-Akhbar Daily also revealed that Khalid Mahmoud, the leader of the so-called Fatah al-Islam, who was in a Rumiyah prison, is responsible for exporting terrorists to Syria. In a new televised speech, al-Mahmoud announced the foundation of the Jund al-Sham organization in Syria, similar to the organization that is existing in Lebanon. The Daily referred that one of al-Mahmoud's close allies, called Yahya, is responsible for recruiting and sending terrorist groups from Tripoli to Syria.